Welcome back to another episode. Here at Mastering Light headquarters, we are assembling the Cine Expansion Kit and go through every single step one by one. We will be starting with the bottom base panel and then work ourselves up through all the different steps of the process. So the first thing we want to do is we take the bottom panel and we attach here a quick release plate so that we can later quickly assemble and disassemble the rig. Mark here the indications 1 and 2. Those will be important later if we go through the different builds and we see which camera model will be attached where. What is already pre-assembled here is the 15mm rod system with a tripod base plate, the quick release unit that will be attached to the Cine Expansion Kit bottom panel, and here the HDMI to SDI splitter that we will use to attach the Kinefinity viewfinder later. A detailed list of components that are in use here will be provided separately in the description of this video. All the screws here can be adjusted up and downwards so that later you have a tight fit of the camera cage inside the CEK. The right side panel for the Cine Expansion Kit comes in two options. This is the open side panel, which will allow us, once installed, to have the possibility to insert an SSD drive, for example, where you want access to, or for example, an audio recorder. We are using the closed side panel for our build here, which will now be attached here. Because a little teaser, all the cable routing will be happening inside the Cine Expansion Kit, having as little as possible cables outside. So the openings here and here are to run cables into the CEK. Of course, we have to insert the cable first through its opening. The left side panel is a custom panel for every single camera used. For the FUJIFILM X-H2S or X-H2, we are using this side panel here. The Canon C50, the SONY FX3 or FX30, as well as the NIKON Z-R use their specific custom panel. Another little piece we are installing here is this little stopper to avoid the camera monitor going out of alignment. So we're fixing this panel here. And now the next step is to install the universal top panel, which we close as the CEK. And then the next step will be to insert the camera. Before that, two more pieces have to be attached here. These are two mini NATO rails that will be used to attach the top handle. As you can see, 1/4 inch screws, 3/8 inch screws offer various options to attach different kind of top handles. We have a very nice top handle here with a record stop button and an extension backwards of the camera where we have the battery sitting. You will see in a second how this comes together. And another little mini NATO rail back here. Now it's the moment where I want to already connect the CEK to the base unit. Here, what comes in very handy during installation and rigging are these custom feet to make the whole unit stand stable on any kind of flat surface like so. And now here with the quick release unit, we have the Cine Expansion Kit and the bottom unit tightly connected. Now Now it's time to have a look at the cables. It looks a little bit messy, but in the end, here, you will see it's a rather clean setup. Now it's time to have a look at some HDMI cables. Here are already put together HDMI cables that will be in use and connected through the system right over here. This special HDMI cable with a right angle connector from Alvin's Cables was custom made in length and in the connector directions to be working nicely with the system. This cable will be going right over here. And now it's time to install the last missing power cable. And now we see why all this was important beforehand, because yet those cables have to be passed through these corner sections without squeezing them. Here I recommend first just a gentle screwing in, not yet fully tightening them. These small pieces come in very handy to fix cables in a nice and safe way by inserting into any 1/4 inch hole, and then a cable of any diameter can be just fed through like this. It keeps the cable nice in position. I'm also using those inside the Cine Expansion Kit to keep all this bunch of cables nicely fixed together. Let's quickly insert the screws. Also here on the other side, just changing the orientation. And a little hot shoe mount is fixed right here for the audio recorder. The Hollyland Pyro S 4K transmission system is installed on this side panel here. We are inserting the audio recording device now right here, and now we are attaching the receiver unit. And now it's time to insert the camera. Let's start with the FUJIFILM X-H2S in its small rig cage, already with the DCO Film Octopus PL mount adapter installed. The original Fujifilm cooling unit is already pre-installed and the monitor tilted out sideways in order to be operated from the left side of the camera. The camera will be now attached to the Cine Expansion Kit via 2 screws on the bottom, screwed in positions 1 and 2, and the DCO Octopus adapter is also attached to the Cine Expansion Kit right here. So let's start by sliding the camera in. It's a good moment to already place these cables here on the back side. Now it's important to use the correct holes, which are here and here. So I pre-tightened those 2 screws back here. Still a little bit loose in order to attach the bottom screws first, and then have a proper alignment of the camera in the Cine Expansion Kit. Now we have to get to the bottom. Here it's advised to be careful not to squeeze any cables. And now here the 2 marked 1 are the correct mounting points for the Fujifilm camera. And the 3rd screw to attach DCO Octopus PL mount adapter. And now it becomes clear these 2 attachments here, one here, and then the camera attached from the top. We have a very robust and solid construction and no possibility for the camera to move even when heavier lenses are installed. Lost without a trace, you bring Blackmagic SDI-HDMI splitter is attached to a rod clamp here. It will be nicely gliding under the camera. As you can see here, now it can be tightened up here, like so. And now, next, we will be attaching the necessary power and control cables here with an angle connector and a USB-C power supply cable for the splitter box. The SDI connector on this side, like so. As already mentioned before, here we are having the connector cable and power cable for the viewfinder. Here, the Kinefinity Eagle E viewfinder is in use. A fantastic high-resolution professional viewfinder which makes filming much more comfortable than looking only on the screen. And this cable is needed on the other side of the camera. So in order to feed it through, we are using this custom opening on that side. And here, it's handy to flip out the camera screen once more. Feed the cable through to the correct side of the camera as it will be needed right here. The internal camera monitor is flipped in again. This is the monitor arm with the viewfinder mounted and connected up here. As you see, all the various 1/4 inch screw holes come in very handy to attach any wanted component wherever it fits and helps you rig your camera as you like it. Before fixing this screw, it's a smart idea to control that this upper screw here was already tightened, and now is also a good moment to tighten up the 2 top screws here. We can tighten up this screw here. As mentioned, a minimal up-down movement of those side panels allows a proper and secure alignment of the specific camera in its cage. Now let's continue with the top handle, which consists of 2 parts. Here, the small rig record stop top handle and this custom rear extension. Using this custom bracket here, it's easy to connect these 2 parts together, which can be then just simply mounted like so. 2 levers to secure them. Here and here we have the top handle properly assembled. Which brings us to the magic arm. Here, I like to use a rather robust version, which allows the perfect fixation of the monitor in any wanted position. Opposite side, like so. The monitor is in place now. The next step is the installation of the viewfinder, which is connected via a SDI connector here and a power cable here, cable like so. Here, the arm has the possibility to be rotated and locked, which leads us the next step, feeding through the cable like so. The power cable of the monitor goes out here and is attached via a dummy battery plate. As indicated before, the whole system is built in a way that all components can be powered via one V-mount battery that will be installed on the back side. Another important part of the build is here a safety connector to go full-size HDMI to HDMI out of the camera into this port here to avoid having any stress directly on the camera port. Let's check out the other side. The audio cable is connected here. And now it's time to install the V-mount battery. Here we have a connector that goes to the D-tap splitter. The battery is in place, and now from this side we are feeding the USB connectors, one to power the SDI splitter. The other one is already plugged in here. In case focus motors are in use, then the cable is already connected to power. What is missing now is still the connection monitor to SDI splitter box. So we have two cables that we need to feed through here, labeled in and labeled out. Summarizing, the loop looks like this. We go from the camera into the splitter box. Out of the splitter box, we go into the monitor, and out of the monitor we go into the Hollyland transmission unit. Next, I like to install a top rod, like so, in order to have a follow focus system, like the manual follow focus system, or the Tilta Nucleus Nano for motorized focus in place. We are attaching two screws here, and in order to have no problems with left-right movements that could cause misalignment, we are using a second clamp to keep this 15mm rod absolutely stable. Let's feed the rod through. The precise position will be determined later. Next, arrangement of the HDMI cable. We have a safe connection right through here. The camera itself will be powered through the 8-volt output of the battery. This is very important not to confuse 8 and 12 volt, because only 8 volt is the right voltage. Camera is powered via a dummy battery that is inserted right in here. So we are opening this lower battery door compartment to feed in the dummy battery, like so. Putting the SDI connector back in position. Yeah, don't worry about those cables. They will be nicely cleaned up and stored inside the Cine Expansion Kit later. Now, it's time to attach our lens. Today we are going for a smaller lens, like here, the DCO Vespid Prime. The lens is attached and locked, and now the next step would be to install and align the manual focus system here. From the camera, we are going into the splitter, out of the splitter into the monitor, and out of the monitor finally to the transmission unit on the other side. Here we go, power into the camera. So let's finish this build off by attaching the record stop button to be able to just trigger and stop the recording. And attaching the 3 antennas. And for better handling, we are simply popping in the side handle. Here we have Cine Expansion Kit version 5.0 running the Fuji sensor. Switching on the external viewfinder, powering up the monitor. And we do have a picture. Now, let's say we are eager to try out the Canon C50 in the rig. So let's just swap the side panel in order to install the Canon camera. This is rather straightforward. We will be simply unplugging the viewfinder, disconnecting the HDMI cable of the camera here, also disconnecting the top handle. And now let's see, as we are going, what else we have to remove to have full access to the side panel. In order to unscrew the side panel, we have to also open here. And now we start by removing the screws for the side panel, which we can now carefully remove and put aside. So we are removing the audio cable here. And the Kinefinity viewfinder cable as well. Same for the power and SDI connector on the other side. The camera moves outwards now. The only thing left to be done is taking out the dummy battery. Now, next step is to install the side panel in the version for the Canon C50. I will show you in another video how it's quite easy and much nicer to pre-arrange all the cables in here. This will make also the installing and uninstalling procedure much easier. So also here we want to install the little end stopper for the monitor, which we are screwing in like this. And now we can use first the top screws. Here we have the Canon C50 in its cage. In order to have the top-bottom connection as it should be, we have to insert this adapter piece right here. Slide the camera already into position, like so, and we are feeding in the first screw. The top panel like so. Next, the second screw. As usual, I recommend not tightening the screws right in the beginning. After everything is put together, it's the right moment. Now, before totally tightening up the screws, it's a good idea again to go to the bottom. Also here, as you can see, between the octopus adapter foot and the Cine Expansion Kit, the provided spacer is needed, which we are attaching also only loosely. Actually, here we are going for the slightly longer version of the screw, and the two screws to attach the camera to the bottom panel. Also for the Canon camera, position 1 is indicated on the bottom. And with the top screws also in place, we can carefully tighten up the rest of the screws.
without a trace. You bring me up when I'm feeling misplaced. The little time we got.
As we can see, the camera LCD is nicely aligned here. In this case, if we would like to use the viewfinder again, we would be installing the sidearm here. For the demonstration in this video, I will skip the viewfinder and simply install back the monitor with the HDMI cable going here and going into the monitor. Time to install back the lens. And we have the Canon C50 installed in the Cine Expansion Kit, power connection for the monitor, and in this case, simply a Canon dummy battery would be installed right in here. And here we go. The Canon C50 in its cage is now the sensor unit in the Cine Expansion Kit. The kit is also available with custom left side panels for the SONY FX3 or FX30 and Nikon ZR. This brings the total amount of compatible cameras to 6. The 2 FUJIFILM cameras, 2 SONY cameras, and before mentioned Canon and Nikon cameras. This project could have not been brought to life without a strong partner. In 2017, Small Rig founded the Dream Rig program, where up to now over 260 creative photographers and filmmakers joined forces to bring their ideas of useful products to life. In the last 2 years, my journey with the Dream Rig team has been a blast. Thank you.
Please support this channel and subscribe. Give this video a like and come visit us on Instagram. See you in the next episode of Mastering Light on Tour. Over and out.